Happy Thursday morning, the Cornbread Man on the Cornbread Man Morning Show. Hope you're doing well. Did things a little different today. Come straight from Rumble. We usually use StreamYard, so just switching things up a little bit. So if I'm trying to get the controls right, I'm out of practice a little bit. So be patient with me. Do want to put our verse up quickly here if I can. Let's see if we can figure this out. The stage. There we go. I love this verse, Psalms 5:11. But let all those who put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. Hallelujah. Get the verse in this morning early. Appreciate the Word of God. A great way to start today. In fact, we should start today with that prayer. What we say on here is get up, pray up, and coffee up. I have not had coffee yet. That will happen. I just didn't get to that this morning. Was kind of in a rush, but happy Thursday. Lots of things going on in the world. We did some shows last night. Some of them will be released today, and talking about some of it at 8 o'clock and also at noon. We cover some of the news that's going on. And there's a lot going on. I mean, there is a lot happening always, and I think even more so now as we get closer to the midterms. There is a lot of activity happening related to agreements, the war, and we've seen some of that happen yesterday, which was kind of astounding when you think about it. I mean, this administration runs at warp speed in a lot of ways, and I don't even know how they really on top of it. The amount of people have to be involved in the negotiations. It's just amazing to me, this new door that opened to the Saudi deal, which a lot of people are going to find fault with, and I understand it. I mean, I think the American policy has always been to deal with the enemy, the one that you can kind of. I would never call the Saudis our friends. I refuse to do that. They've always had their hands in politicians' pockets. But when you look at when you look at the Middle East, we've always, for most part, we've always stood with the Saudis. We've sold them military hardware. We have a lot of military personnel in the country. There's a lot of security folks that I know who have served there, protecting American workers that are in Riyadh and different places. But it is still astounding. I mean, I think this deal is amazing. I mean, we're fighting on the other side of the Hormuz against a country who, radical, and I believe if they had a bomb, they would drop it on somebody, whether it be us. I don't know that. Hey, good morning, Watchman. But then you make a deal with the Saudis. I don't even know how to describe that, other than they're playing their cards. I mean, it's like you're basically what I feel like Victor Davis Hanson had it pegged, and I think this is what's happening. Again, I could be completely wrong. I'm just throwing my opinion. Everybody has one, and of course, there's a lot of money in the pockets from Saudis. But I will say this: Victor Davis Hanson said, at some point we'll pull away and we'll leave that to the nations there. And it looks like we're empowering and making deals, furthering those agreements between not only the United States and those countries, whether it's Saudi or Oman or whoever it is, but also with Israel. And they have opened the door to that, to some sort of agreement, as long as the Palestinian issue is taken care of, and there was something else that was in the agreement if they get it. But making a nuclear accord with Saudi Arabia is astounding. I mean, it's amazing, and they have to get through. I don't know that it'll ever pass Congress, but because you have to break the agreements, or not break, but you have to redo the agreements or get approval for the agreements that have been in place since one of them since the 1930s, believe it or not, and the other one was like 1947. I think there was another one in 54, and this all has to do with non-proliferation and what you do or don't do with nuclear, abilities and helping other countries. I think that it's always a danger. Anybody could become our enemy, and have the weapon, and so who knows? And then at the same time, the announcement to use federal waters to do underwater, nuclear energy, which we do have within submarines and things like that. it's just moving. It's moving very fast. It's amazing. I'm not even just. It's not even a statement of for or against whatever. I'm just saying from straight on looking at it, it's astounding that all this is going on at the same time. But Victor Davis Hanson basically said you'll get to a point. The victory will be they can't do anything. Talking about Iran, they can't do anything militarily much except for, you know, their navy's gone, air force is gone. They'll have drones and some missiles and stuff, and turn to Riyadh and turn to some of these other nations and say, okay, all of you put something towards the defense of the strait and handle them because you have the ability. We've sold you the military hardware, whether that's Saudi Arabia, Israel. There's probably a couple others in there we could mix in and say you have the fighter jets, you have the naval capability. Now you handle it. Each of you put up a ship or two, or it's a coalition of nations. At the same time, having agreements with Israel that they won't be any problems and they'll sort of work in conjunction with each other. It is moving very fast, and I just think it's amazing. It really, really is. And so the lead headline this morning was that Lindsey Graham's death opened the door to the Saudi deal that he had worked a lot, in these accords between, the Abraham Accords between Israel and some of these other nations. I don't know. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but I just think, I would slow roll this. I mean, it would be a big slow roll for me of who we work with as far as nuclear energy there. I don't trust the Saudis, and I'll say it. They have not shown themselves to be trustworthy. Again, I think it goes back to always what we do with our foreign policy is we work with the enemy, and that's the one that we know. And it's they're a big boy in the neighborhood, and they have, we've always sort of sided with them against like Iraq. I remember Saddam Hussein. He wanted to destroy Saudi Arabia. He had devised a plan to do kamikaze type, aircraft. I mean, 747s falling into the capital loaded with bombs, just massive explosions. And their people are like, well, they'll never get there. I mean, they'll shoot them out of the sky because they have the Patriot systems just like Israel does, and some other Ukraine now. I mean, that they'll hit these things before they ever get close. And so, but that was his idea. He wanted to destroy Israel. He wanted to destroy Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure there was another nation or two. But it goes back a ways, but it just shows you. I mean, if you go back, everybody. I mean, anybody that's of any age. I mean, if you just paid attention to the news, we've bounced these agreements around. At one time, we were sided with Iran. One time, we were sided with Iraq. One time, and you just take different nations. But there are, those in the neighborhood nobody can deal with, and that's Iran, that's Yemen, the Houthis, and I don't think they're much of a threat, but they like to do what they can do as a proxy. And of course, the terror network, the Hezbollah, Hamas, others, People for the Liberation of Palestine. There's a number of them, and sort of close or slow down. You'll never close it down, but slow down their funding. And but it's always the Middle East. We know this from the Bible. It's always going to be. It's going to get worse. But there will be a time of peace, and that is coming. It's interesting all this talk of peace, and I don't know that we're in that time frame yet, but it's interesting to think about it. The different, the negotiations, and I will say, and I said this recently, the Middle East has changed for right now. There has been no mass demonstrations. Nobody's losing their lunch over the fact that, except for Russia or somebody else, maybe China, or losing their lunch over the fact that Iran's getting, obliterated in certain ways. They don't care. You see no protests in the streets, at least no major ones. I'm not saying you haven't seen some. There's been no, even in the land of Israel, there's no massive, even from their own people. I mean, some Israelis, a lot of people, it's eerily quiet on the Middle East front. It's really strange. And it's like all are focused on the same target right now, which is the Hormuz, and it affects them all. So, they'll work both sides of the street. Absolutely, most of those nations will. But I think they're working right now to, let's let Americans take care of this, and then we can hang on to, whatever we got, and not have to pay tolls or whatever. Well, yeah, I'd heard that the Houthis. I don't know that they can actually. I don't know if they have the muscle to do it. I'm not saying they can't disrupt the Red Sea. I'll put that up. I don't know that they can't disrupt Because anytime you're throwing missiles into the I did cover this in a show that's going to be coming out this morning a little bit, but yeah, the Red Sea has now been uh, in this mix, and we are in danger economically across the world. The effects of the energy shortages, supply lines, your supply chain. It's going to be felt. It's already being felt in Asia pretty big. And across Europe will be next, but it will hit here, and um, energy costs are going to rise. Probably right time for winter. uh, I don't know how, unless something changes really quick. But the supply lines, even if today they came to another MOU, even if they settled that today, and said, you know what, and we just said, you know what, we're not going to get the centrifuges or anything right now, but the strait is clear and no problems. Even if they start today, even if they said agreement signed, the shortages are still going to occur because it takes so long to get the oil across the sea. I mean, you're talking, it's been months of disruption, not a total shutdown, but only for maybe a few days, but disruption from, well over 100 a day to, or whatever, 135, I think they said a day of passages through the strait, to now, a third of that. At times they've been able to go higher, but it's tightened back up some, and those will affect and that's why, there's I mean, the farmers are already suffering here, and the Ukraine blew up a lot of refineries in Russia as well as fertilizer plants. That's true, and I've been covering that too. And they're striking a lot better than they were. Their hit rate has went up, and there's no doubt to me that they've gotten intel, satellite help, and everything else from Europe and probably from the Americans as well. They've hit Russia really hard, and Russia's going through shortages. They're having to buy on the open market. I mean, of all places that should never have to buy oil or any kind of energy, they've been having to do that. It has affected them. So yeah, the farmers are going to feel it, which we're going to feel it with food, because America is it'll hurt here depending on how long it goes. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say right now that we're going to go into a Great Depression here, but it's going to be tougher, and it's going to hurt low income people a lot. Jobs will probably be cost, and that's why they're one of the reasons I think was in the bill they're trying to push through the billions of dollars for the farmers. They know that there's some of these that just fold up. There's no way they can hold on. The margins are not there. The costs are, they just can't get it. And then now and how much can you import, and the danger of that, of some of the foodstuffs. We've seen what happened with the lettuce not being clean, and that's made people sick. So there's it is definitely something to pay attention to. It is definitely something that could be it could go really really bad, but it's not going to be great for a while. There's going to be an impact to all of us because it can't help but impact us. It doesn't People that are not even really political, who sort of they're just economists, they're people that watch the futures and the energies and all that. I mean, all of them are saying basically the same thing. We're going to suffer um, a lot of increase in cost. It's supply and demand. It's the basics of economics, since there has been economics. If you don't have enough, the price goes up, and it's going to squeeze out people. And not there's going to be This could be a hard winter for a lot of people. It really could be. There was, and what'll happen is if they hear anything about gas shortages, then people go out, and which is really ridiculous to do because it's such a short-term thing. They'll go out and buy up all this gasoline. I knew people do this. They'll go get some tanks. They'll fill them up. They throw off the supply chain even more, which happened a few years ago. I remember, many stations were closed or they were fighting over the gas, almost like a Mad Max kind of thing. They were trying to chase down tankers and pull up, force them over the side of the road in America. We could see that easily again. We may have to have military escorts for, the fuel trucks. I had some friends, close friends, church friends at that time. I don't know that they're still involved at all. Were working for a gas supplier at the time, and they were giving me updates on just how hard it was to get gasoline supplied, and that their drivers were being, threatened, and they were getting police escorts, to get to stations, and they even had to while they were putting the gas in the thing. I mean, people were approaching them. They had to have, like I said, somebody to defend them. Watch their back while they were putting the gas in the ground. And this is this is here in the South. This was right here in my neighborhood. Like I said, I'm sure Atlanta was most of it, but there were threats all over the state of that. Congress surrendering the military to Israel is a final nail in the coffin. Pure madness. A lot of talk about that too. That was there was differing opinions. There was a lot of arguments back and forth. Some were saying this is just agreements that we do normally. Others said it went too far. It gives them access to some things. So there's a lot, a lot of argument back and forth. So if you take all that and you just and many more things, and if you overlay, ICE, all the things that's going on, and I'm just using them as examples, whether you're for it, against it, whatever. It's called, the political climate right now it's ugly. And I don't really like polls, but every poll that you kind of look at right now seems to indicate a big change in the midterms. So what's going to happen is the president has a high chance of losing one side of Congress and could possibly lose both. And if he does, then he can't get anything done for the last 2 years. Now that doesn't mean it'll happen. There's just a possibility, but the Democrats are definitely smelling blood in the water. But who's really moving to the forefront? The socialist. I mean, that's what's moving to the forefront. So even the Democratic Party's in flux and change. It's being taken over, and a lot of people are, they are going. When people are mad at one side or they're unsure, they go the other side just for change. Let's vote somebody else in. A lot of people go vote. They vote for all they vote all the incumbents out, or they try to. The president's not on the ticket, but his administration is on the ticket, per se. Because if they lose the control of either side, then things are going to just slow down big time. Yeah, it's never happened in the history of mankind between major nations. And like I said, warp speed right now. Things are happening very, very, very quickly. So, it's every day there's massive news. I mean, that was 3 or 4 major news items from yesterday. 3 or 4. I mean, and there's many more that are extremely important. Some of them are not even being looked at that much. But these major announcements, I mean, it was just boom, boom, boom. Offshore nuclear, working with the Saudis on nuclear energy, the escalation against Iran, which was, if you shoot at a ship, we're going to take out a bridge or a power plant or whatever a day or whatever. The agreement with Israel, and it goes on. And then trying to get the 1.5 trillion or whatever it is deal. They got it through one side. I don't think it'll get through the other side. Is the military going to go broke, per se? I mean, there's money that they have, but the cost of the war is escalating, and so it's pinning down. In that agreement was raises for the troops, and also to fund the war machine. Basically, farmers were a part of that. The money for the SAVE Act to help, to help fund for the ID, all that, making changes there. So it's amazing. I don't have I love to watch news. I love to report on news. I love to just have commentary, talk to people about it, and it's intense. I mean, it's like I have to pick. In the time I have to pick what I'm going to talk about, and there's so many news items. That's why I've increased the amount of news that I do. I mean, from the morning show to the PNN News to Wolf Report, I try to just grab different news items and put them in different ones because I want to talk about them too, and I find them interesting. And will we make agreements with other nations on nuclear? Marco Rubio says no, it won't happen. But you're in that neighborhood, and other nations are going to be saying, hey, what about us? What if a Jordan steps forward? And I don't know what we already have. I mean, we have great relationships with Jordan. I don't know if we go that far, but I could see that being a nation we would definitely consider. What other nations might step forward and say, we want to be a part of this. and we need help too, and we need the technology, and we need help with this. And so part of this budget and things is, will help also to ship, to make, and then to ship, and then the help to put together the technology in those nations. It's a crazy time. I mean, we're all lining up for the end times, and we know that. I mean, prophecy. Everybody that's a Christian knows that. But boy, can you see it more and more. Remember, Operation Warp Speed caused the deaths of millions and millions more, and it's still not over. Yeah, Dr. Burks was on the news last night. I covered that. She was talking about how she doesn't think this latest thing had anything to do with climate change. The lettuce the lettuce diarrhea. I know that's not what they call it, but I just throw it out there. Um, but yeah, I mean, and then in all of this, also announced yesterday the president's words on AI, data centers, and the like, that we're going to be at the forefront of it. We're going to outpace everybody in AI, its abilities, and basically all that goes with that. So and his idea. This is another part of the nuclear story. He said quadruple the nuclear ability we have today. We have to do that, quadruple. Well, we've not even built a new reactor, what, in 30 years? Well, there was an agreement for the one in Georgia, which I mentioned. They had a special agreement. They were able to get a second, cooling tower and kind of double their production. But they've never been able to get anything through because the environmental aspects and impacts, nobody would ever agree to it. But I think that's going to be rammed in. And while they have power, I think that is, you're going to hear. I mean, he's saying that there's a deal coming where they're going to, I think, start a major building operation around the country for more nuclear energy, and if not inside the continental 48, offshore. And I think that's why that agreement. I think that's why that was being floated out there. No pun intended. The underwater nuclear energy was because they know it's a little tougher to get that done inside the country, inside the continental United States, than it is maybe in the federal waters. And right now, he can force feed that through, and he probably can bypass Congress to do it. And I said for a long time, I've said this many, many times. I don't care who the president is. The executive order ability of the president is amazing, and it's been rising and getting stronger with every administration. And at some point, you wonder, do we have, what does Congress do? I mean, they still have things that they do and vote on, and obviously, but the more that the executive abilities of the president is raised and opened, and every president has done that since they started the thing, 100 years ago, whatever it was. I mean, why do we elect Congress? Why do we have senators? I mean, they were saying, that you'll hear this a lot about the federal. It's a federal thing. It's a federal action. It has nothing to do with the states. Congress doesn't have to speak on this. And they're going back and they're coming through agreements. Some of these going back even to the 1800s, but certainly around the turn of the century, 1930s, 40s, 50s, 20s. They're finding agreements that are on the books that nobody's utilized in decades, maybe 100 years or more, depending on when it was, and they're using those for tariffs and other things. So they are definitely coming through the books to see what's on there. And I would say if the administration ever flips, and it probably, who knows, it always does, they will look to do away with some of those things. They will end those or tighten them up so they can't be used like that. And I would say that will happen a lot. So what happens for the consumer, the American, no matter what side of the aisle you're on or how you look at it, independent, Democrat, Republican, who cares, whatever, we're caught in the pendulum of that, as it swings back and forth. We're caught in that. And on both sides of this, we lose rights. I believe that. We lose rights. Even though they make it sound like we're gaining rights, I believe we lose rights. The surveillance, you just mentioned that, but the surveillance of our, yeah, it's perfect timing, watch me, because I want to do a show on the flock, and here this week, I'm going to go. There are a number in my community, and I want to go. Somebody has already done the work for me. I don't have to. I know the locations, but I wanted to go get a picture of one in my area. As it's taking a picture of me, I'm gonna take a picture of it. And and you're right. You're absolutely right. The social credit score, which has a lot of, it's been talked about, but a lot of people haven't paid much attention to it in a while. But I was at a meeting. I had to be careful what I say here because then I could say too much just because, you know. But I would just say I was at a meeting. It's been a year or two ago, and it was a pretty high level meeting. Uh, and there were people that were come in and just in relation to business. Actually, what they were talking about, because the public doesn't see it as much, business sees it already. Business already knows this is happening. They are required, because of the social credit score, they're required to, there's a lot of data that has to be pulled. There's a lot of things they have to check the box, give them a number. Some of those is the carbon data, how much carbon. I mean, everything about everything you do has to have a number attached to that. But it goes way deeper than that. I mean, it goes to how much water you use in your bathrooms. I just sit and listen, and I was amazed. And nobody, I mean, the common worker is not out here going, you know, thinking about that as they use the restroom or, you know, what's going on. But everything is coming under the watchful eye of government. And if you don't play ball, you know, they can shut you down or they fine you heavily under that. And I was sitting there like, when I heard this, and I know it was out there, but I didn't know to what level. It was a little shocking to me, actually, being deep in the South. I was shocked, but then I thought, well, you know, but the federal reach is everywhere, and they just do it. And that's, I was listening to someone that was their job, and they basically, and there are a lot of smiles, but they were basically saying, you know, that you got to give us this data. We come help get it. We'll, you know, you get inspected, and you got to be compliant. And I don't remember everything that was said. I wish I wish I could, but I was sitting there like, man, this does not sound good. You know, just seeing that escalate like that. Both sides use this tech to attack the other side. Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely, man, and that's, we're seeing that. Did I see the story from Dunwoody, Georgia? Um, Flock operator was watching girls gym and swimming pool at Jewish community center. No, I didn't. I didn't see that. I missed that, man. Um, man, but and that's the thing is, and I have watched a lot of videos of people that are going and um, they're going to, one of them that was, I don't remember where it was at. You may have seen this. A guy, I think it was two or three of his friends. They were out here at a flock site. You know, I guess where they take the data. I don't remember, but the guy shows up that's a executive there, whatever he calls the law on them, and they're like telling them they got to get out of there or, you know, they're in trouble. And the guy says, "What law did we break?" And they said, "Well, you're out here with cameras." He said, "Well, you're watching us. We're watching you." He didn't like it. I mean, it wasn't friendly. It was like, you know, you're going to get the heck out of here or else. They didn't like the fact they were recording, and um, I want to say there's 7 to 10 in my area, 7 for sure, because I remember seeing them. I'm gonna have to look that up. And one of them is, I would say, no more than 2 minutes from my house. And it's major corridors. You know, they get the major roads, you know, highways and major side roads that, you know, travel between major highways, and, you know, where people are really going to be moving through. And of course, their defense of all that is that we're catching stolen cars, kidnap people. You know, people have committed crime. We can track them, everything. But man, they're collecting every data that you do, and we're under. I mean, and that's why I said the Patriot Act was opened the door for all this. I didn't like it when I heard it. You know, when President Bush proposed it, I was like, whoa, no way. Because you're talking about what you can go get some bad guys, but you're looking at me and everybody else and intruding on our rights and our privacy. So, you know, they like to poke hate on China. I have no love for what the Chinese communists do at all. I love the Chinese people, but there's 300 million cameras or something like that around China now. I mean, they watch everything they do. Well, how far behind are we here? I mean, we're not that far behind. I mean, they're already trying to make us use, watching our water usage, the trash, everything gets filtered. I mean, the cameras were under listening devices, listening to what you're saying. We know we've been listened to now forever. I'm not even talking about being live on here. Obviously, that's listened to, but I mean, just normal conversation. They have the ability to do it. We've been using it against Europe for at least 20 years. Um, it was a big stink at the city council meeting. The leaders or traders, the people are mad about these flock cam, especially the creep watching those girls. Yeah. Oh, the people on the councils and stuff, they just sit there. Nobody says anything. They let them have their say, or if they don't like what they say, they try to throw them out. I don't know if you watch the guy, Watchman. If you watch, there's a guy on Facebook I know, and he's not from around here. He's in Oklahoma. Have you seen that guy? He's a guerrilla media or something like that. And he goes to all these places and he challenges them on, you know, they don't even know the laws. They don't even know what they're doing. They try to do things that's not legal. And he said, like, go ahead, arrest me. I'll sue you. And he's rough. And I wouldn't say some things the way he says it, but he is all over the state helping people support their bringing up these issues in city and county meetings, going to courthouses and organizing. And he gets attacked at every turn. Every turn. I can't think of that guy's name. Let's see. Here's the article. Okay. I'll grab that down and I'm gonna copy that right now. Thank you, man. Put that on screen and then I will copy it and send it to myself. I appreciate that. Check that out. Yeah, there's so many videos I see. I miss, you miss some, you see some, and I've been thinking I try to share a lot of it with Biscuit Boy. I mean, these are the kind of things we talk about more than some of the others here at the network. I mean, me and him are the political part of the network, and we don't always agree ourselves, but it's fun. We have a great brotherhood, but we kind of challenge each other about something if it's right or wrong or what we think about it. Yeah, I do too, man. I get a kick out of it. I mean, it's sad, but it's all there's humor. There's some of the things they come up with and say are really funny. I mean, it really is funny to watch some of that. Some of them are idiots. I don't care for some of them. I think some of them are just, I don't know, they're just low IQ trogs that are going around. But there are some that are really good and they're respectful and they challenge. They're firm, but they're nice and they don't back down. They stand on their rights. And some of them are just some idiot that ordered something off Amazon and went out there and said I'm media, and they look kind of stupid. Not that they don't have a right. I'm just saying they have a right to look stupid too, but they do. But some of them are really good. And it's all right there on camera. And some of it's live streamed. I mean, they're doing it live stream. Some of it they record because they want to put the videos together. But occasionally you'll catch them in a live stream and, they're out there and they're getting screamed out and everything else. But it is amazing. I mean, it's so funny when some of them will look at them and go like an officer or even like a lieutenant, captain, whatever. And they go, and one of them will go, you don't know the law, do you? They just stand there and look like, how did you get trained? I mean, how did you get qualified to wear the badge and the gun? And I mean, you don't even know what you're doing. And you can tell they don't. They're like just lost. And 95% plus of the time, I'm just throwing a number out there, but it's really high. When they say, well, call the supervisor, and the supervisor shows up, he tells them to stand down. And, he's a little more experienced, got more knowledge, and he comes out and he says, he checks it all out and he says, yeah, you're legal. Tells his boys to load up and move on. I mean, they're out there, you're going to leave because I'm telling you. Let's see here. Watchman says, the flock owner is from a long line of elite communists from Russia. His father was friends with Bill Ayers. I didn't know that. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that doesn't surprise me. Bill Ayers of Weather Underground, Black Panther, as well as he also worked for Viet Cong in U.S. and U.K. I appreciate the info. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Um, I mean, and that's a whole nother thing. I mean, when obviously we know when Obama was president, how much his close association with Bill Ayers. Um, uh, Dave, don't believe anyone in chat. They're playing. Hey, empty pockets, how you doing, buddy? Well, not always, but I try to, let them have their say. But we're in agreement today. How about that? We're in agreement. But that is a long line of infiltration of Bill Ayers and all of that, and we're seeing. I mean, look at what I mean. We're seeing candidates put forth, unbelievable. And I know the person. I'm just like the person would never be elected. I don't think they would. Maybe they would. But the dude in the dress, what makes you qualified to run for this? I mean, the guy had what, like, I don't know. I woke up every day and I vote, and I'm a nice guy, or a nice girl. I don't even remember what he said. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's right. I mean, it's freedom. I get it. But tell me nobody votes that in. Tell me. Scary. But we vote in. Congress has not worked together since George Bush was in office. And they were united. That's true. They all stood there, held hands. Let's do it. Let's get that Patriot Act in. We're gonna spy on everybody. We're gonna violate everybody's rights except ours. It don't apply to us. When they were rolling that thing out, I was going, "Whoa, Nelly, are you kidding me? This is not good news." And I mean, but they ask these people, "What are you doing with the data?" Oh, that nobody sees that. All that stuff where we're watch everywhere you went, how fast you was going, and how many times you made the trip, who's in the car, reading your license plate, the color of the car, all the stuff that they can gather off of that. Oh, no, don't worry about none of that. Yeah, Karen Bass ordered the bombing of the Capitol building in D.C. Susan Rosenberg, who set the bomb, was pardoned by Bill Clinton. She now works for BLM headquarters in D.C. Wow. Yeah, the tentacles of all this it's just scary. And then you go to outside of the country where they're, who they're connected to in various countries and organizations, and what we have, not like the movie A Failure to Communicate, but what we have is a whole bunch of really bad people that all come from the same ilk. It's like two lawyers going into court and they're arguing against each other and fighting, and they go to lunch together. There's a lot of that goes on, and I get it. They're doing the lawyer thing, but they're friends. They're not, they're just working their deal. But these people act like they hate each other, but they're probably behind the scenes. Most of them are probably talking to each other. I mean, not that everybody likes everybody, because they don't. There's some true hatred in there. There's some that just hate each other and they won't talk. But there's a lot of them. They have agreements, and if they're not agreed on something, then they're blackmailed on something, because they've all got, I don't like to use the word all, but I'll say many of them are dirty from something in their past or something they're involved with, and they don't want anybody to know about it. Yeah, I should go back and, I should go back and watch. Yeah, I need to go back and listen, brother. But I do want to have a show about it. Block is blatant infringement of the Fourth Amendment, and I will copy that one down too. Thank you, James. Put it in my little list of things here that I'm going to get to later, because I got to go to work. But in a few minutes. But I appreciate you posting. But yeah, it's highly unfortunate what's going on, and really it's happened so quickly. I mean, people are surprised. I mean, but I will say this: I think we can all agree that if anything, a lot of people are showing up at these committee meetings now, and what they're doing, many of them, it seems to be, they're not even conducting legally the business at hand. They use very vague terminology. They go into executive session. They come to an agreement. They come out and have a vote and go home. And the people are incensed that they're passing stuff, and it's not like being talked about too openly. And they'll let them get up and have their say to a point, but then they uh, people are cutting down the flock cams all over. I saw one where man, somebody had obliterated one. Like obliterated. I saw that. James says I use a lot of water in my bathroom. It takes 3 flushes to get down the toilet. Man, you're on their list, dude. They're gonna come after you, man. I did, and I thank you for that. There's a guy who has done that. We have, I think it's 7 or 10 of them in my area, just in my little area in North Georgia. Not even counting what's going on in Tennessee, the city over from me, Chattanooga. But in my North Georgia community, there are 7 to 10 of them, I believe. I forget how many they said were across the country, but they're in 6,000 communities across the United States. Was the number I remember, and I can't remember how many they said, but it's a lot, and they're everywhere. We the people need to start the tar and feathering of corrupt politicians again. Put them on the run. Got the torches, the dogs out there. Get them. But they absolutely. I mean, they sit there and they have nothing to say. And when they challenge them on the legality of what they're doing, they just look at them like, whatever. They don't care. They really don't care. So yeah, James Watchman, can you see my chats? You should be able to. I only have the one Rumble running today, so there's not 2 sides, so you should be able to. And y'all in the same chat, so yeah, okay, he can. So yeah, we're gonna we've made the nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia, whether it goes through or not. We're gonna build some offshore, underground or underwater nuclear reactors. We're gonna do that. The president has actually cooled on Ukraine a little bit and being against them. He's actually, I think, for helping them even more now. Who's got to the president? He was dead set against Ukraine. Now he's for them. They're striking Russia really hard. And I mean, how long before the Kremlin is hit? I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The Kremlin, they're going to put a drones right there where Putin is supposedly at. This thing's going to blow up big time. And then but you have to have humor in life. You know, I have to have laughter, even though it's a serious issue. I do think it's funny that the Houthis, they really do want to be a bad boy. They really do. It reminds me of Crocodile Dundee when the guy tries to rob him. He's got a knife and he says, "That's not a knife," and he pulls out his. That reminds me of the Houthis. They really do want to be bad. They want to be bad terrorists, but they're kind of inept and they're not really together. They're not that big. They're like the little step, sister to the big terror groups. They want to be bad, and maybe one day they will be. They want to be in the major news of terror organizations, but they're not really that tough. And it's kind of comical to me. And even the president talked about it yesterday, or was the day before. Yeah, we'll hit them, and you won't hear nothing from them for a while. That's exactly what I said. You bomb them a few times, they're quiet for a few weeks or months, and then they pop up again. That's kind of the MO with them. I mean, they show up, and they're like, yeah, we're here, and we're bad. And then they disappear for a while. I think the Houthis got involved lately because the president said what he would do if Iran hit a ship. So they got the Houthis to do it. It's like they called them up. Hey, he's getting a little rough over here. Go ahead and hit him a little bit too. That doesn't violate what they said. Yeah, we'll send you some more missiles. It's just funny. Who's next? I mean, some little, another little be they'll have like subgroups, little wannabe terror groups. They each have one launcher, and they launch and they all do it. And they say, well, it wasn't Iran. It was the it was the people for the for the protection of Hormuz, or I don't know. There'd be some kind of people that are terror group. I mean, if you have 2 people, you can name yourself a group, right? So they have an office somewhere. Terrorists are us, and they call up and say, yeah, we can put something in the air. We got a couple in the back. They're kind of late model. I have to kick the tires a little bit. We have to pump it up a little bit. I think we can get it out there. Uh, Ukraine is backed by NATO soon. Russia is going to go after NATO nations. It's heating up. It's heating up. It really is. And Germany, it's weird after all these years, right? I mean, after the World War II, what I mean, that Germany is taking kind of the lead in this. It seems like France is trying to be there, but nobody really takes them serious, honestly. And Great Britain, what a joke! What a joke! Did you see the? I'll ask you guys. Did you see the little community in England where they're wanting to bring in 1,250 foreigners, all men, and it's a little bitty town of 350 people. They don't even have a major store, nothing there. But they have a military barracks type place that was used at one time, had been shut down. And they kind of jokingly said they were want to secede from Britain and become an American state. I don't think there was any seriousness in that at all. But they kind of reached out to the president and said, we want to be the 51st state or whatever. But they're really upset. They're doing all that to get attention on the fact that their government will not listen to them. And here's a little town of 350 people, men, women, kids, old and young. And they're saying, no threat, no threat. 1,250 young men from some godforsaken country and put them in their back, right there in their front door, basically. And the government's like, and they said they're going to do it. We can't stop it. I'm a leader of a terrorist group. We are called the Disabled Senior Citizens Against Springfield Leadership. You're marked, man. Yeah, that group. Well, you see, that would be the DSC SOL. We got to come up with a little acronym for it. We'll have to think about that. There's got to be a cute little acronym we can come up with for you. Oh, you've made a name for yourself there, though. You're definitely on the list somewhere. When you walk into a meeting, they're going, look who's here. I hope he behaves tonight. Is he on the list to talk? Don't y'all ever interview that guy again. Hoover Round Militia. Okay, I could go with that one. The DBAs. Oh, for those that are not in Rumble, I should be fair and let you see that. That's funny. You guys are giving me. I need a good laugh. It's been a rough week, man. Whew, rough week and a half or two. It's rough. Work's been rough, and just a lot of little things just dealing with. And it's good to have a laugh. Biscuit Boy's been out of town. He keeps me laughing. He's having a ball though down. I think they're gonna spend another week out of town. So anniversary, vacation all rolled into one. And I think they did vacation first and kind of gonna celebrate the anniversary. They took the grandkids first, gonna bring them home and then go out again. But miss him. I don't think we'll see him till week after or next. And I'm happy for him, but I do miss him. We've talked on the phone and we communicate text and stuff, but I miss having him here. He's just funny. So I need to laugh. And Dean, he keeps me laughing too. So we'll be back together Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I believe. Yeah. Or is it Monday? No, I think it's Wednesday. But I like that one. The DBAs. You gotta get you a hat made on that, dude. I mean, my mind just goes there, man. All these logos and stuff. Just came off a 7-day suspension from YouTube for violating their guidelines for disparaging a group of people. Ruh-roh. 7-day. We got a 7-day one time. It was over the old, the old. They, they kicked us out for a solid week over that. Uh, really, the word. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, we didn't even say nothing. We just read a chat. We have gotten in trouble a little bit. They've gave us a little bit of disclaimer. Not on YouTube. It was right in the middle. We were doing a TikTok live, me and Paul. And Paul's on a tirade. He goes on a rant. We usually just talk about the Lord on there, but he got talking about something. He got in a little bit of a rant, and in a matter of like 30 seconds, we got 2 on-screen warnings. I said, man, we're fixing to be out of here. Like strike 3, we're out. And he's like, I couldn't even see what that said. What was that? I said, they told you to shut up. He's like, okay. That's the way it is, right? You can't even talk. You know, they look at everything you got in the background and everything. They see. That's why a lot of people on TikTok, they have blank. It's total blank behind them. They don't have nothing. Because like they might not like my little picture there with the crosses and the flag and Jesus, and they don't like that. They haven't said nothing yet, but they'll just take your channel. They'll just take it. Gone. I'm not on there today, but we have received a couple of warnings on screen. I didn't even know it could do that. It wasn't even that bad of a rant. I'm thinking, dude, that's low key. Like that's like normal conversation for Biscuit Boy. I was like, man, he didn't even really get fired up that much. It was like strike 1, strike 2. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Get a chance, Dave. You should listen to my new song. I was thinking about you this morning. I've got one I need to upload too, but I'll do an uplifting spiritual song. Hey, I'm proud of you. I want to hear it. I will check it out. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to let you say anything. We're just not going to let you do it. What a world we live in. I mean, it's crazy times. Crazy times for sure. It's just, and where do we go from here? I mean, where do we go from here? Because more and more is going to happen, and we know that. And we're just stuck. And we can complain, we can gripe, we can do all those things, but I mean, where does it go for us? Okay, I'm going to copy that one out too. We'll put that up for the populace as well. We'll hear a dang good song. There it is. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Copy. Put it in my stack of stuff over here. Sometimes I get busy and I miss. Pop it in a little email for myself. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you stopping over. I was thinking about you and Big Tony, and I've been so super busy, man. I ain't had time to do much. I mean, it has been a very busy time for me. I'm sure for you guys as well, man. Life is busy, man. There's so much going on. My life is complicated sometimes. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, let me get some music dialed up and we'll get out of here. It is the top of the hour, and I do need to go. I'd love to go another hour, and appreciate the conversation, Watchman, James. Thank you to the others who watched, wherever you're watching from. We appreciate you. Just remember to watch us on Roku now. If you go to Roku.com and just download the Wolf Nation Network, you can know it because it's basically that logo behind me with a red outline, but it has network at the bottom. A little bit different. It's easy to find. And when we go live, it goes live. Not today. I'm in Rumble and I haven't set it up in here yet, but you can watch us on Roku. And don't forget our Substack, which I'm not live to this morning either. Just did a Rumble and a few others this morning. So God bless all of you. God bless America. Let's pray for our troops and prayers for those who have lost their youngins. And that's something you don't ever get over. There's no words we can say as a nation, but we do pray for them, and I feel for them. And there'll be more, and that's sad, but that's what happens. and their young lives gone. And I'm curious about the one where they were trying to detonate the drone while that happened. I'm curious about that one. Sounds like something went wrong there because they were trying to. Maybe they. I don't know if it was training. Did do something right. I'm not. I'm going to speak from this seat because I have no knowledge. But what we do know is that he was slain. So prayers for the family. However it happened, uh, our nation, uh, feels your pain. We can never know exactly what it feels like. But I'll tell you, we'll see you next time on the Cornbread Man Morning Show tonight. We'll do something. We'll be on with something. There's a couple of shows going up this morning too. See you, James. See you, Watchman. Everybody else, have a great day out there. We appreciate you. Here's the music.